slick talker since a jet.
Winter time, all the time, ooh, yeah. Look at the way that I move, swag. Disrespectful and I'm rude, okay. I had cocaine in the school.
Hello guys, and welcome to the fourth part to What If Tanjiro Was a Player. You guys kind of hit the like goal unexpectedly, and I was already in the middle of recording something while you hit the like goal, so I had to finish that and then get on this. So yeah, sorry for this coming out late, but thank you guys so much for 900 subscribers. We're just a mere 100 subscribers away from 1K. But yeah, thank you guys so much, and also thank you for the support you've been giving me on this series. The like goal for part 5 is 25 likes. My Discord is linked in the description and in the comments. But without further ado, let's get into this. Now, the last place I left off, Tanjiro had completed the final selection and become an actual demon slayer. But he did this at the age of 13 instead of 15 like in canon. Meaning I'm going to have a 2-year time skip so Tanjiro can actually be 15 in this what if, so he is the same age as he is in canon. So yeah, 2-year time skip. Within this time skip, Tanjiro would go on many missions, and he would pass them all successfully. And while on these missions wiping out demons, he would level up and grow stronger. And upon killing some of these demons, he would acquire new skills, such as bloodlust and invisibility. And some of the missions he was sent on brought him face to face with lower moons. But despite them being part of the 12 Kizuki, Tanjiro would take them out with little difficulty. And since Tanjiro went on so many missions and completed them successfully and even killed a few lower moons, his rank in the Demon Slayer Corps would actually go up, like a lot. And what I mean by this is, he would achieve the rank of Hashira, but he wasn't really recognized as a Hashira by anyone except for the master. In fact, he never even kept track of his own rank. He didn't even know that he was a Hashira. Also within this time skip, he would remember his father, and he would also remember the Hinonami Kagura / sun breathing. And all of that happened within just the first year of the time skip. For the next year, Tanjiro would just continue going on missions, killing demon after demon, growing stronger and stronger. And at the end of this time skip, he would now be 15 years old, and he would be level 100. Meaning he would have went up 75 levels within this time skip, acquiring around 300 stat points. And no, I'm not making this up, I actually did the math. He would put 100 stat points into strength, giving him 170 strength, and another 100 stat points into agility, giving him 170 agility. He would put 50 stat points into his sense, giving him 100 sense, and he would put his last 50 stat points into intelligence, giving him 64 intelligence. And also, I'm not going to be making Tanjiro a shadow monarch because I don't see a point in giving him the ability to create an army of the dead. So there will be no job slot in this what if, but his whole stat page would look like this. Tanjiro Kamado, level 100, title, Demon Slayer, strength 170, agility 170, sense 100, and intelligence 64. So he will not be the Shadow Monarch, but he will still have the ability to infinitely grow stronger. So with the time skip and all that out of the way, let's actually get into this. We would see a happy couple walking down the street late at night. The woman would stop for a second to fix her kimono, and the man would take his eyes off of her for a few seconds. Everything would go dead silent, and as the woman was fixing her kimono, a dark portal would open up behind her and a demon would emerge out of it. The demon would reach forward to grab the woman and yank her into the portal, but the only thing that could be heard seconds later was the slashing of a blade. And the demon's head would fall off of his shoulders and hit the ground. The last thing the demon would see before he started to disintegrate was somebody with cold eyes staring back at him with a black-bladed katana. This would be Tanjiro. The man and the woman would turn around confused, but Tanjiro would tell them to get close to him. There were still more left. Tanjiro's eyes would flick to the left, right, and down, as suddenly 2 identical demons would pop up out of the ground to the left and right. Tanjiro would quickly breathe out before taking one swing. Before the demons could even react, their heads were gone. After these events, Tanjiro would leave the town in hopes of finding a strong demon so he could level up before he was assigned another mission. But while traveling and searching, he ran across a big city. Tanjiro would sit down by an udon shop in hopes of getting something to eat before looking around in the city. But before he could even order anything, he was hit in the face with a scent. The exact same scent he sensed that night. It was Kibutsuchi Muzan. Tanjiro would completely forget about his udon and he would rush off toward the scent. He would push through a crowd of people before reaching the end of the scent as he placed his hand on a man's shoulder. The man would turn his head and it would be in fact Muzan. Tanjiro would be filled with rage as he would reach down and grab the hilt of his katana, while Muzan's face would be filled with fear and confusion. But before Tanjiro got to do anything, he would hear someone say, "Who's that?" As Tanjiro would look over and he would see a woman, and he would also see Muzan holding a little girl. Tanjiro's face would go from anger to confusion. As then Muzan, still being shocked, would say, "It's no one, we have to go now." Him and the lady would turn around and begin to walk away, but before he fully walked away, he would slice a man on the neck, turning him into a demon. Tanjiro, seeing this, would use his bloodlust skill to stop the demon from attacking anyone or even moving. Muzan was right here, but he couldn't attack him. There was too many people around, too many lives at stake. He had to deal with this demon, but there were still too many people around. Tanjiro didn't know what to do. All of a sudden, his eyes would flick to the left as he seen a man and a woman standing in the distance. Tanjiro could tell this woman was a demon, and so was the man, but they had no ill intentions whatsoever. The woman would extend her hand before cutting it open with her nails as flowers began to appear everywhere. With this confusion, the man and woman would move in. The woman would tell Tanjiro to come with them, while the man grabbed hold of the demon and took him with him. Tanjiro would be hesitant, but he would finally comply and he would follow her and the man. The woman would tell Tanjiro that her name was Tamayo and that was Yushiro. Please forgive me if I slandered his name. But she would essentially tell Tanjiro everything she did in canon. Tanjiro, after hearing this, would actually begin to trust Tamayo. She would still ask Tanjiro to kill the 12 Kizuki and send their blood back to her so she could experiment on it. But right after their conversation, Tanjiro could sense something was coming, as all of a sudden 2 Tamari balls would crash through the walls and begin to destroy everything around them. Tanjiro would catch one of the Tamari balls from hitting Yushiro, but oddly enough it would fly out of his hand and back outside, landing in the hand of the Tamari demon. Tanjiro would act quickly, jumping outside, unsheathing his katana and blitzing forward toward the 2 demons. And Tanjiro, with one breath, would say, "Hinonami Kagura." As flames began to envelop Tanjiro's blade and they began to trail off of it, he would cut off the Tamari demon's arms and her head. And with no wasted movements, he would slice off the head of the arrow demon standing right behind her. And yes, this man is running everyone's fade so fast they have no chance to fight back. And after this, Tamayo would actually suggest that Nezuko is left in their hands, so she's never in danger when Tanjiro is fighting. Tanjiro would think about it for a couple minutes, and he would again comply since he trusted her. Now, if you're angry about this decision, I don't really know what to tell you, because there's nothing Nezuko can do. She's kinda just there. And I also don't want Tanjiro to get in trouble with the Hashira and put on trial for protecting a demon, so yeah. While Tanjiro was leaving the city, his crow would give him a mission and give him directions. And while Tanjiro was following the directions and walking down the road, he would hear a girl yelling. Tanjiro would run up the road to see some girl being clinged onto by some yellow-headed boy. The boy was crying and yelling about how he could die any day and she should marry him. The girl would hit him and make him fall to the ground crying in pain. This would obviously be Zenitsu. Tanjiro would walk up to Zenitsu and ask him why he was harassing girls. Zenitsu would tell him that he was really weak and he could die at any point on his mission, and he wanted to marry a girl before dying. Then Zenitsu would see that Tanjiro was a demon slayer and he would propose that maybe Tanjiro could protect him. Maybe they could be companions. Tanjiro would look at Zenitsu as if he was dumb before saying whatever and turning around and starting to walk away. Zenitsu would quickly follow Tanjiro. After a while, Tanjiro would finally make it to his destination, and it would be a house. And close by the house there would be 2 children whimpering. Tanjiro would go up to them and ask them what happened. They would tell him that some kind of monster stole their older brother, and it took him inside the house. Tanjiro would then tell Zenitsu to stay out here with the children and he would go handle this. Zenitsu would comply, seeing as he didn't have to get in harm's way. As soon as Tanjiro stepped inside the house, he began to sense everything around him. He would quickly find out the place was very intricate, but navigating through it was doable. He would sense many demons inside of the house, but he would also sense 2 humans. Tanjiro would unsheath his katana and set off. Tanjiro would wipe out many demons throughout the house, until Tanjiro ran across a big room, and upon opening the door, he would see the room would be getting flipped up inside down constantly. And in the center of the room, he would see a person with no shirt on, wearing a boar hat, running around trying to dodge all these invisible slashes coming from a demon that had tons of drums on its body. But then the demon would flip the room upside down and was about to send an invisible slash toward the boar-headed guy. Tanjiro seen that the person was not going to be able to dodge this, so he quickly summoned his poison dagger to his hand and chunked it at the demon. It would slice the demon on its arm before it could send out the slash, paralyzing it. Tanjiro would use his time to zip across the room at maximum speeds with his katana in hand, taking one sharp breath before saying Hinonami Kagura. And once he made it up to the demon, he would take his slice, leaving nothing but a fiery red trail behind, slicing the demon's head off. Tanjiro would land on the ground before letting out a sigh of boredom. But all of a sudden the screen would pop up, and the first time in a long time it would say that Tanjiro leveled up. This would bring a slight smirk to his face as he would put his new 4 stat points into intelligence. He would then quickly blitz off out of the room in hopes of finding the boy that was taken, while the boar-headed guy, which is Inosuke, would be pissed off and he would be yelling at Tanjiro for stealing his kill and doing it so casually. But eventually Tanjiro would find the boy and he would find his way outside of the house, and he would reunite the boy with his 2 siblings and send them on their way. After this, Inosuke would find his way outside of the house and he would actually attack Tanjiro. But as soon as he did this, his attack would be dodged and he would be chopped on the neck, being put unconscious. Minutes later, he would wake up to Zenitsu and Tanjiro burying the people that were killed by the demons inside of the house. After they got done doing this, Zenitsu and Tanjiro would begin to leave, and Inosuke would continue yelling at Tanjiro and begin following them. Once the trio made it out of the woods and back onto the road, Inosuke would still be yelling at Tanjiro for a rematch. Tanjiro would tell Inosuke to shut his trap as Tanjiro's crow began to squawk at him, giving him a new mission. It would tell him to go southeast to a mountain where there has been many disappearances. And since Inosuke nor Tanjiro are injured in this what if, there is no need for them to stop off by the Wisteria Inn, so the 3 would head directly toward the mountain. All 3 of them would eventually make it to the foot of the mountain and they would stop. But then Tanjiro would begin walking again, and he would say as he was walking away, "You 2 can come along if you want, but I'm only going to be a couple minutes." Inosuke would tell Tanjiro that he wasn't going to get all the action as he began to follow Tanjiro. And Zenitsu cowered down and said he'd be fine right out here. But just a few seconds later, Zenitsu would hear a few noises and begin to get scared as he would rush into the forest looking for Inosuke and Tanjiro. Then we would flash over to Inosuke and Tanjiro and see that they would run into some demon slayers. But these demon slayers were acting really weird, and they even started to attack Inosuke and Tanjiro. But Tanjiro would catch on very quickly as he would see that these demon slayers were being controlled. But he would think quickly as he would use Dominator's Touch to grab them and hoist them up over tree branches so they couldn't attack him or Inosuke anymore. After this, they would both run deeper into the forest. But while this was happening, Zenitsu would have the same thing happen to him as it did in canon. He would run across the brother spider, he would be poisoned, and he would use Thunderclap and Flash 6-fold to kill the spider brother. Same thing would happen, no time to waste on that. But much like in canon, Inosuke and Tanjiro would be ambushed by the big monster thing that was being controlled by the mother spider. Tanjiro would make quick work of him by going in with a flurry of sun-breathing attacks, slicing his legs, arms, and head off, killing him. Then Tanjiro would rush off on his own, running across the mother spider, and seeing that she surrendered, much like in canon, he would use water breathing to kill her gently. Eventually, Inosuke would catch up to Tanjiro again, and he would catch sight of the sister spider. He would see her run into the woods and he would follow after her. But then he would be ambushed by the father spider, and Inosuke would quickly begin to lose against the father spider. But while this was happening, much like in canon, Giyu and Shinobu would show up to the mountain. Shinobu would save Zenitsu from dying of poison, and she would end up killing the sister spider, and Giyu would end up killing the father spider and saving Inosuke. While this was happening, Tanjiro would run across Rui. Rui would attack Tanjiro with his normal threads, and they would be sliced through without even Tanjiro using a breathing style. Rui would get infuriated and use his blood demon art and shoot his blood-infused threads at Tanjiro then, and without using a breathing style, he would still cut through them and within seconds cut Rui's head off. I know you guys wanted like a big fight within this episode, but I'm sorry, Tanjiro is just way too overpowered. And after Tanjiro got done killing Rui, his crow would come land on his shoulder and tell him that he was to report to Demon Slayer headquarters. And that'll be it for this episode. Don't really know what to tell you. Tanjiro just got really overpowered and none of the demons could really do anything to him. We should see a really interesting fight when he meets Akaza, an actual upper moon. And in fact, that fight might actually happen next episode, but we're gonna need 25 likes for that part to come out. My Discord is linked in the comments and the description. Make sure you go join that. And until next time, guys, bye.